just the game's changed so much that so much is different about it now that I feel like they need to change a lot of the rules, like overtime. And I feel like pass interference should change a little bit.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, because there's a lot of calls where like the ones I understand when it's like head-to-head, helmet-to-helmet, where people are like, oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But they're so strict about it because of all the concussions and lawsuits and everything and CTE. And I get it. Those things are fine with me because people are like, oh, the game's not what it used to be. It's like, yeah, but the average lifespan of an NFL player,
true.
if they played like 4 years, I think they were like, it was like in their 50s or 40s, some of them.
That's
like,
crazy.
Unless they kept their money and had the resources, you know?
Yeah.
But overtime, yeah, that definitely needs to be changed.
So I have thoughts, and my thoughts came before the championship game.
Your thoughts and your thoughts came.
They did. So that's the right one. That's what I was thinking. Boo, that sucked.
Man.
So I don't know if you watched this game, the Kansas City Buffalo Bills divisional round game. It was probably one of the best football games I've ever watched in my life. Like,
it's
those two
one of the best
quarterbacks.
games I've ever watched in my life. Then the edibles had me slumped and I passed out.
Those two quarterbacks were popping off in the fourth quarter. Like, I think there was a stat like in the last 2 minutes of the game they scored like 25 points. Shit was nuts. And like, definitely was a situation where Kansas City would go up and like, there's not enough time, Buffalo's going to lose. Then Josh Allen would throw this bomb to Gabriel Davis, who had freaking 250 receiving yards.
Jennings of Buffalo.
But actually, though, this man had like 4 touchdowns, 250 some odd yards, and like 6 catches.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And
but they were
didn't
going
even start really playing until I think Diggs had COVID and Cole Beasley was injured, and like Knox was in and out of games. Like, it took him till the end of the year to start doing anything.
Talk about a game that's going to make you millions of dollars in the future. That was it for him. And proud of you, Gabriel Davis. Hell yeah. But anyways, came down to the wire. Kansas City ultimately tied it, and then it came down to overtime. And Kansas City won the coin toss, and then went down and scored a touchdown. And I was like, that sucked. I really wanted to see Josh Allen get at least one more shot to tie the game, do something, because it was playing out in a way where neither defense was going to stop either offense. So I didn't feel like that was I get it, it's the rules, and it's like, well, if you don't want to lose, play defense. Like, fair, I get it, I understand it, but I just would have liked to have seen Josh Allen get an opportunity, just the way that game was being played.
I think it was Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, one of those guys were like, that's why they say defense wins championships. But the game, you got to think too, when these rules were made, there was maybe 1 or 2 quarterbacks even throwing for 3,000 yards. Now they're pushing 5K,
6K almost,
and they're so athletic. They're putting up so many points. Even if they had all the same rules as before, there would still be games that are this high scoring.
Oh, I
just
agree.
Because everyone's so much more athletic now than then. It's fucking evolution.
I know.
And they just don't change anything, and I think that's stupid.
I agree.
But I did see a post. It was like, Josh Allen couldn't have done any more to win that game. And someone was like, he could have called heads.
Oh, but it's funny because if you remember the AFC Championship game against the Patriots in Kansas City, like 2018, 2017, where this happened to Kansas City, where Tom Brady got the ball in overtime, scored a touchdown, and ended the game. After that game, Kansas City went to like the owners' meeting or whatever and tried to petition the owners to like, let's change the overtime rules. Because even they were like, nah, this was BS.
Yeah.
So they tried to change the rule after that game. And the NFL was like, no, we're not doing that. And then they won a game with those same rules. And Andy Reid was like, I guess it helped us this time.
Well, they just changed it, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, to if
you get a field goal,
that you can try to match it. But I just think it's stupid. Like,
well, there's proposals to change the overtime rules. And I have the 3 proposals here, and I want to read them to you and see what your thoughts on them are.
All right.
So the first one is the spot and choose rule. And this was actually proposed by the Ravens last year. And if the NFL wants to spice up overtime, it should implement this change. Under this rule, one team would choose the yard line where the overtime drive starts, and the other team would choose whether they want to play offense or defense. So, for instance, if Team A and Team B were playing in overtime, Team A won the coin toss. they would pick any spot on the field where the first drive of overtime would start. If they picked the 10-yard line, 90 yards away from the end zone, then Team B would get to choose whether it wanted to play offense or defense.
That's fucking awesome.
The overtime in this proposal would be a 10-minute sudden death period, and the other rules would be the same as they are now. If a team scores a touchdown on its first drive, they would win. But if they kick a field goal, the game continues. This rule would take the coin flip out of overtime, essentially.
That's so dope.
That is a good one. I like that one. Where it's like, yeah, we're going to put the ball on the 2-yard line. Then you can pick. All right, we're going to play defense against you on the 2-yard line. Like, that's strategy right there.
I like
That's
that.
an interesting little, let's play a little bit of chess with some football. That's a good one.
I like that a lot.
The second one is the field goal gamble. If the NFL wants to get rid of the coin toss and replace it with an actual football skill to determine who gets the ball first in overtime, then they could go with the field goal gamble. Under this rule, the home team would pick a distance for a field goal that would decide who gets the ball first. The away team would then decide which team has to attempt the field goal. If this rule had been in place, Sunday night, yada, 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 yada.
I don't like that rule because the Ravens would never lose overtime.
Yeah, Tucker would be a beast.
Yeah, it'd be like, we're gonna put the ball at the 50. That's fine.
Right. Put the Niners in there. Robbie Gould never missed in the postseason.
Yo,
I trust him.
He is my
love him.
favorite non-Falcon player.
I love
at the
Robbie
moment.
Gould so much.
Yo, when
He doesn't give a
When
shit.
Ramsey like got in his face after, it was like, hey,
And he
bro.
was barking back at him. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, Robbie, yeah, Robbie.
The funniest shit too is like the cheerleader one or the whatever that one was. He was at least kicking over them, like, all right, whatever. But this one, these dudes are like 5 yards away from him, walking down, waiting for the game to continue.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, pop.
Nailed it.
What if he hit one of them?
Get out of the way, bro. I'm kicking here.
That reminds me, like, when the Cowboys first got their new stadium and that huge Tron.
Oh, yeah. The
Before the
screen.
Falcons played them, the Falcons punter was like, I'm going to hit that screen. And then Jerry Jones was like, that can't be, no, you can't hit the screen. Like, he tried to petition, like, that it should be a flag or something. They were like, you
put it there.
yeah.
You
Like,
did it.
If he hits the goalpost, are you going to be like,
Right.
no, you can't hit that. That's a flag.
Rude. You hit a seat in the
I
stands.
was like, yo, that's an expensive screen to fix.
Come on, Jerry. And then the third proposal, both teams get the ball. Essentially like college rules, right? Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to read this. The Chiefs proposed a simple rule change that would require each team to get at least one possession in overtime. So this was the Chiefs' proposal to the NFL. Basically, if this rule had been in place Sunday, the touchdown scored by Kelsey in overtime wouldn't have ended the game. Instead, the Chiefs would have had to kick off to the Bills, and Buffalo's offense would have also had a chance to score. Once both teams have had one possession, then the game would turn into sudden death. So essentially college, but in college they put the ball at the 25, and you just start your drive at the 25 or the 30. I think it might be now.
Yeah, and then it's like after, I think if they both score, then you have to go for two.
Yeah, after a certain number of overtime
I think
periods.
the third one is most likely to get voted in if they do change it. But the first one, as an avid Madden player, is my fucking favorite. I love it.
Yeah, that's a good one, I think. And the Ravens tried to get the NFL to do it, and they just said, nah, take your Baltimore ass back to Baltimore.
Take your Baltimore. Go eat some crab cakes, you bitch.
F you and your overtime rules.